We should be streaming now.
You should be.
Yeah, we should be streaming. You got me streaming. Except all. I'm bringing them in.
Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Everybody in the building. No, yes, people still filing in. They're coming in one by one. Everybody's just rolling in. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
This is wonderful. I was about to give the sign on. Welcome to Welcome to the Hayward CPA podcast. This is our bi-weekly podcast that we have on YouTube, along with the co-host with the co-most, Mr. Corey Franklin.
The co-host with the You just made that up.
Well, it's part of the lexicon, things I have to say. So we're here today. We're gonna do a webinar today. Thanks to everybody that has signed up and came in the room. We're about to get busy in 2 minutes. Gonna let a few more people come in, and then we're gonna get to we happen, and then we're gonna get going. We just gonna make sure little bit of housekeeping. There should be an option for you to get into the chat and put any information you want into chat. Any questions? We'll take questions on the back end for any of the things we go through today. And we're gonna have a pretty good time, because if you watched any of the promo videos, I can get colorful at times. So so one more minute and we will get started. So give me one more minute. All right. Let's see. All right. But the 1 minute is up. I think we shall start.
Let's do it.
So once again, welcome everybody to What is Your Northstar? The number most entrepreneurs neglect in their business. This is a webinar presented by Hayward CPA, part of our BYOB curriculum. And we'll talk about BYOB a little bit later. This Northstar concept that we generate. A little bit about me. That's me. I look about the same. No. Sorry. I've been in business or around business, dare I say, my whole life. My father's an accountant. I said is because he still practices, which often involves calling me to. In 2008, I opened the firm in 2010. But before that, I had a record store. I had a music promotion company. DJ, was on the radio. So I've done a lot of things, been around a lot of businesses, and one thing that I've found is that the business finance aspect is always an underlying factor in businesses. And that's one place in our practice that we find is often neglected. And we'll get into that a little bit more, but that's my story. Not too much. This is not about me today. You go on the internet, I'm all over about that. Well, let's get to it. Most entrepreneurs are flying blind. A lot of us start businesses, and that's exciting. We're excited. We start the business. We get things going. We put all the setup. Those are the things I like to say, dare I say, are, I say sexy. They're exciting. My idea. Oh, check this out. I'm going to do this. I'm going to conquer the world. I'm going to do all these things. But we often overlook the not so interesting things like business planning and finance. And that's, one of the reasons that people get in trouble. Not exclusively, but we all have heard that adage that I don't know what percentage of businesses fail within the first 3 to 5 years. Well, often a good percentage of those businesses fail in year zero because they never planned what was going to happen. And they have no target. They just, going through the motions, or, they might be doing well, but there's no guidance on what they're doing. And they do something in accounting. I call it gut accounting. Our business owners tend to know what's in the bank account mentally. And sometimes we don't reference it unless there's an NSF charge or something, but we don't document. We don't go look. We operate from the gut, or as long as there's money in there, we're good. Okay. And they look at the numbers at tax time only. That's an example. So we only look at our numbers at the end of the year. When I did the workshop last month, I mentioned the issue with that is an activity that you do in January of a given year, like January 2026. You won't engage with it. If you only look at your books at tax time, you'll only engage with it at the earliest of January of 2027. And if you extend your return, it may be August or September of 2027, which at this point, you're not going to remember what you did in January of 2026. And the information is useless to you in terms of managing the business day in and day out. So those are three ways that I say we fly blind a lot. We just kind of doing it from instinct. And there's a cost to that. There's a cost to not knowing what these are. A quote from this guy here: busy isn't the same as profitable, and profitable isn't the same as sustainable. Now that gets into some things that are like cash flow, which is another seminar we'll have coming down the line. But busy, just because you're busy doesn't mean that the business is doing well and profitable. You might be collecting money, but are you keeping it? And even if you are profitable, understand in business is real simple for me. If you make 1 cent more than you spend, you're profitable. Understand that. But if you could live on 1 cent, and they don't even make cents anymore, but if you could live on 1 cent, I mean, let me know, because I'll let you teach any seminar if you figure out how to live off of 1 cent. But you would be profitable. And what you also have is not knowing. I mean, these items right here that we are in these boxes are a result of not being guided. I mean, you underprice. You might be leaving money on the table. More importantly, you just may not be charging enough. You just may not be charging enough for what you do. It's there. Yeah, misdirected growth. This happens a lot when people I think we'll touch on it in a minute, but you start looking for new revenue sources without maximizing the revenue source you already have. So then you split your resources, try to grow another way, and you have no direction in that growth either. So you're splitting your resources and possibly getting half the result without concentrating your resources at this point, then adding another service line when we get to specific points. And April's too late. I mean, looking at this stuff in April, what I just mentioned. I mean, at that point, the year's over. Whatever you did last year, no one knows, including you. So, in the course of this, one thing that I've learned, speaking to entrepreneurs, business owners, whatever you classify yourself as, is that we neglect somebody. Most owners neglect somebody. The most important person to the business, not often, we neglect, period. I'm just going to be frank. Guess who that is? Put it in the chat if you think you know. But I'll give you the cliff notes. The owner. We neglect ourselves. We totally just forget about ourselves. And it's easy. I'm trying to keep the doors open, the lights on, and I'm trying to keep my personal lights on, squeezing blood out the turnip to do it. And so what I've coined this thing is a Northstar number. To start paying attention to ourselves, to offset this neglect. The Northstar number helps us pay attention to ourselves. And what the Northstar is, and I want you to, absorb this, is the exact annual income from your business that your business must generate for you to sustain your life. That's it. That's what it is. It is the number that this business needs to generate in order for you to live currently. Not a dream number. Someday I'd like to this, and that. I'm not saying don't have the dream number, but we have to operate with the number that we need now. And we have to set this number. Now, small business people think we don't need to do that. But corporations have full departments that do this. Like, they actually do this. They understand, if you know, it's called FP&A, but it stands for financial, I forget. I never got to work in the department.
Financial planning and analysis.
Yeah, there you go. I never, I was in the accounting department. They treated us bad. So I don't remember what it is, but financial planning and analysis. Complete department that what they work on is something similar to this. It might be in percentages, but so I said, okay, small businesses, hey, we need a number. We need a number, and we need to make this number non-negotiable. It needs to be, this is what guides us. So henceforth, I said, Northstar, we're guiding to this number, because no matter what, we start businesses for many reasons. Sometimes it's a passion, something we're good at, something we enjoy doing. We want to help people. We want to do that. But you start a business in the end to take care of your family. That's it, man. Because if you didn't want to do that, then you can make it a hobby. And on some level, you can make it a nonprofit. But even if you're a nonprofit, you have to think about this stuff too. But you started a business to be profitable. Most business, we say, is for the stakeholders. Corporations, publicly owned corporations, do it for the shareholders. Well, guess what? You're the shareholder. Your spouse is a shareholder. Your kids are shareholders. That's who the shareholders are. So we have a responsibility to our shareholders, which includes you, and we have to have a way to get there. We need somewhere to know where we're going. So let's talk about it. How we calculate this number. And this is, we start taking care of ourselves. We start calculating this number by accumulating a few things. And this exercise might be more challenging than anything, because most people don't think like this. Now, I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, eat what you kill type situation. So I'm highly attuned to what I need for my household, like to the brand. Like, I know what I need. And I'm an accountant, so I'm a little extra with mine. But I'm fully aware of what I have. And don't get me wrong, there's times I lapse too. I'm not trying to pretend like these are not acts of perfection. They're just acts of information so that you're taking data and you're operating on data. So one thing is your life expense, monthly life expenses, or your monthly expenses, your mortgage or rent, car payment, credit card payments, what have you. But the big one that we all do, I'll just tell you, I know gas right now is ridiculous and everybody is attuned to gas. But the secret bullet is food. Eating out, buying groceries. We have two places where we spend on food, most of us. And I've seen it, and I know myself, and historic, I was speaking, we spend a lot of money on food just in America, like we do. But that's a whole nother conversation for another time and a different level of subject. But we want to get in tune to what we need to live in, because this is being honest. I mean, well, all three of these things are going to do that. Your monthly life expenses, your savings and goals. Savings, I think, has become this statement has become stale. People say, "Oh, well, I got to have my savings." Well, guess what? It leads back to this too. If you don't know how much you spend a month to live, how are you really making a savings goal? What are you saving for? Even if you say you're saving for retirement, and especially in this day and age, like when people retire, you don't say sedentary. We spend money. I've had a couple of clients that unretired because they didn't realize how much money they were spending. So the savings and goals part is really to say, okay, what do I need to start putting away? And then if I want to take a $10,000 trip, that's one of the things is on the books. I'm trying to save for that because we all need this. This stuff is going to guide us in our business actions. Tax buffer, self-explanatory. Hey, we need this to calculate because you will have a tax consequence. You will have one. I know none of us want that. That's fine. But you will have a tax consequence that we have to buffer for. If you make a profit, you're going to pay taxes on it. That's simplify that in your mind. What anybody else does, other people, government officials do in their taxes does not apply to us. Let's not worry about that. Okay. And then profit margin percentage. Now, this is something that many of us don't know, and it's the most important metric for a small business. So, profit margin is the percent of what you collect that you keep. That's that. So, for every dollar, how many pennies you keeping? If you're keeping 50%, you keep 50 cents. That's a 50% profit margin. Not many businesses that do that. 70, 80. There are businesses that do stuff like that, but usually they involve things that might land you in prison. The thing that people don't realize that profit margins are not high. I attribute that to like lemonade stand accounting. Like people, we start businesses and we simplify it. I'm going double or triple my money. There are very few businesses that double or triple their money, no matter what you've heard. And we'll get into that when we get into the calculator. So those are the elements to the number. All right. So, and don't forget, if you have any questions or comments, put them in the chat. But if not, let's keep rolling. So what we're going to do now, we're going to demonstrate this. We're going to demonstrate the Northstar number. We're going to go through a little exercise, which is why this is a workshop. And let's go through and see if we could pull up this number. We could create the number. So here we go. This is on our website, and where we revisit this, and here we go to the calculator. So what we're going to do is just go through an exercise, and I'll show you how this works and how we use this number. So housing, I'm going to put 2,000. Utilities, it's based on where you live, where you are in the country. Understand it could be whatever it is for you. But we're just going to put some numbers in here. Car payments are like ridiculous now. Insurance, if you have a car payment like that, could be this much a month or more. Actually, it could be way more based on where you live. Gas, off the charts. Some people could be spending $100 a week. Groceries, I'm going to put conservatively $600 for some, and then dining out, we'll just keep it another $600. Subscriptions, another trap, because we never monitor those. Health insurance. Now remember, you're self-employed. This is you have to pay for this stuff. So we'll call that $1,000. Medical and dental, health insurance does that. Child care, education. I'm going to leave that only because I don't really know what that comes up to be. Let's say you have $1,500 in credit card payments. Your student loans are paid off, other monthly bills. So real easy. You put your information in here and get the savings and goals. So it's just like we said, an emergency fund per month. Now, mind you, all these are monthly expenses. So we want you to look at it as a monthly expense. We're going to put, I'm going to put 500 away just to have retirement. I'm going to do a SEP, so I'm going to let that run through the business. I'm not reinvesting anything. Travel experiences, hobbies, what have you. I got to have my $100 a month. Myself, I keep buying like music production software that's like $15. So, Now here's the interesting part. We go to the tax buffer. The instructions here say that as a business owner, the taxes don't come out. So we need to set aside enough for the IRS. So you're not caught off guard. This is recommended at 25 because that's what, if you have self-employment income, if you have a partnership, or if you have a Schedule C. But if you have an S corporation or you do something like real estate, it would be just attuned to what your highest taxable rate is, what tax bracket you're in. But I'm going to use 20% here, and definitely consult your tax people to get the rate. But you can always play with this. This is 40% is about the highest.
Try to cut you off.
Yeah.
We don't see your screen.
You don't see the screen?
Yeah. Are we supposed to see the screen?
What's up with that?
The screen that you're typing the numbers in? Are we supposed to see that aspect?
Yeah, you're supposed to.
Okay.
Hold on. So you don't see, what do you see right now?
I just see the beginning page, the website. Join.
Oh, it's not scrolling. Okay, that's not a problem. Okay. All right. This is what we'll do. Thank you. That's why you're here. That's the Corey effect. So let's see. Is it scrolling now?
Yeah, I see it now.
You see my
screen? Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna start over. But I'm not gonna go through talking about it all again. Let me just put some numbers in here. So thank you. That's why you have to have good friends with people. Because you would just be talking, looking crazy. Whatever. It don't even matter now. And you can see me enter it right now.
Well, while you're punching in those numbers, let me just at least say this. This is what entrepreneurship is about. You don't always get everything right every single time. You got to be able to have the agility and the ability to move around and to get through it. Right? You got to go through it to get through it, and
You know,
that's all. That's all. It just takes just a switch. Just a pivot, a slight pivot,
yeah.
right? And we continue to move on.
All
So
right. Okay, cool. So you see the tax buffer, right? So all that brouhaha I was discussing. So this is a slider, as I mentioned, on tax that you select the rate. So just to do, we can discuss it later. I'm going to use 20%. And now we go to profit margin. And I'll make sure you can see this box down here. The by industry. So you can see on the low end, restaurants make one of the lowest profit margins in everything. So just to put in context, uh, finance media always likes to tell us how many millions and billions of dollars a company makes, but they're not going to report this to you. They're not going to say, yeah, but they kept this much. Because why? Because that's boring. That's not interesting. But retailers, same thing, 5 to 15% margin. Consultant and professional services and technology and software are higher because usually you're the product. Construction is there. Healthcare usually falls about 20%. So we're going to use something. We'll use 20% to keep things equal. All right. So, all right, we still on. You still can see me, right? So,
yeah, we good to go.
Okay, cool. So now we're going to hit the button. Boom. What? What is that? $588,750. And here's the synopsis it gives you. To take home $7,850 per month after taxes. So that's where we put in all our expenses. While running the business with a 20% margin, you need to generate about $50,000 a month for $11,000 a week. That's your minimum sustainable target. That means 49,000 per month, 11,000. So for that to cover my lifestyle, that's what I have to make. It's like a reverse engineering. I don't know how many people lock in like that, but it's definitely useful. And we'll talk about that in the next slides. But this is how it calculates your living expenses, savings goal. We put a tax buffer. This is what you need to take home per se. That's what you need to be able to take out of the business. Then the 20% tax, the 20% profit margin, that's how we get to the number. But now we got a number to talk about. Let's call it 509. Let's just call it 600,000. All right, to go there. That's the number that we need in order to fund our lifestyle. What that is, folks, is a version of business planning. FP&A, financial planning and analysis. I just did a financial planning and analysis exercise right here. And it took me what? Okay, if I didn't have to start over, it would have taken me 5 minutes on the long end. Granted, I did make up the numbers, but what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't take a lot of time. Now we have some guidance on what we're doing. All right. So you back. Okay. Well, here's the thing. Let's imagine what do we need to do in order to get that number? Bookkeeping is essential for reaching your Northstar. Now that we have this number, this 600,000, we'll call it, it's essential. You have to keep your books. One, to monitor the profit margin, and then even personally to keep up with how much you need each month to live. So we talked earlier about looking at our books at tax time, which is historical data. So that's like looking out through a rearview. That's like driving while only looking at the rearview mirror. So can you imagine? You get in your car, you look at the rearview mirror, you put it in drive and move forward. You don't take your eyes off of the rearview mirror and you drive forward. Anybody want to take a guess what's going to happen if you do that? If you actually try it and you do it, there's a good chance that this is going to happen. A total catastrophe. There's a recipe for disaster. But yet we're doing it in our businesses. Just think about that. All we're doing is looking at hindsight. We just look at hindsight. It's a recipe for disaster. Remember when I said back that businesses fail, it's because they're constantly looking. They're not even constantly looking backwards. They're looking backwards a year removed, and that's not sustainable. But there is an alternative. Looking through the windshield. A forward-looking focus. So it's taking the history in the bookkeeping and be able to look forward. Now, anybody that has a dog knows that for some reason they love, looking out the windshield like they're driving or something, or like they're a wayfinder or something like that. So that's why I decided to use the dog. But the dog is looking out the front window. See where we're going. Something to think about. And it's important, though. It's important because in the past it was rough because we didn't have the tools. Now we have the tools to do it as small businesses. So you create a business navigation system. Destination, GPS, and course correction. That's like any navigation system. If you're planning a trip, you have a destination road trip, you have GPS to lead you there, and you get a course correction if there's an accident, if a road is closed, anything that comes up, or you have to get off or detour to go get gas or to go get food or what have you. That's a navigation system that we use, sticking with the car motif. Well, let's marry that to what we're talking about with the Northstar in business. The Northstar, that's our destination, $600,000 a year. The GPS is our books. It's telling us, and we're seeing on a regular basis which way we're going, which way we need to go. And the course correction or quarterly check-ins this is not even about checking in with somebody. It's you sitting down with it and understanding, because you're the one driving the car. So you want to go see, do I need to veer off? Do I need to set? Do I need to change this? Do I need to change my service line? Do I need to raise my prices? What do I need to do? But this is something to think about. This is a system to think about for us to get to that North Star. Remember, now if you realize, since we've calculated the number, I can keep going back to 600,000. I can say that's what we're doing. That's why we're moving. Every move we make is towards the 600,000, excuse me. So, but I'll talk about the BYOB. So what we've done is created a system that helps that navigation system. We've created a program to help the navigation system. It's called Be Your Own Bookkeeper. And quite frankly, we're quick. What we do is we assist the business owners in setting up their accounting system, training them on the accounting system, and checking in with them quarterly to look at the books and discuss this the travel to the Northstar. Help them find, you know, help them find what they need. So if you needed to ask where the closest restroom was in your road trip, yes, you can ask GPS, but sometimes some of these restrooms aren't that right. So you usually like to talk to somebody. But it's a quarterly review, and we could correct your course in that. So that's what we have to do that. But the biggest thing is about your North Star. And everybody that registered, we can have a consultation, free consultation on your North Star. Book a one-on-one session with the firm. Might be myself, might be Core, Kor. It may be that. And we'll go through that exercise and get a little bit deeper, learn more about your business, and talk to you more about how the North Star approach can help your business. But remember, the key is we want to be honest, and we really want to, be truthful, so that we create a data point that really fits our needs. So here's the website. You can schedule an appointment anytime. And go check us out. And then finally, that's all the material I had, but what I do have is one more plug. On Saturdays, every other week, if you want more information or more insight, we're here every other Saturday on our YouTube channel at Hayward CPA. It's a podcast. We answer questions too. We're always looking for questions to answer, because we talk about the data approach to business issues and the mindset approach to business issues with those two gentlemen right there, myself and Mr. Corey H. Franklin of Biz Therapy Coaching. So he's a coach. So he's a business coach. So he deals with mindset and help you think about things. And that's what we have for the day. So I thank everybody that registered and came in. Hopefully we've said something to make you think a little bit and take advantage of our system. So, I don't know. Doesn't look like we have any questions in the chat. How about that? It's cool.
No question. But I'm gonna leave with this.
Yeah, I know you got a question.
No, I don't have a question. I'm just gonna leave. I'm gonna leave with this. When you're talking about your North Star, you're talking about BYOB, etc., etc. I kind of like to go under the surface a little bit, right? So when we make decisions, though our decisions are important. So I'll just leave you with these three concepts right here. Decisions follow decisions. Decisions believe decisions. And decisions are loyal to decisions.
Mm.
We'll be talking about that on the next KWK Conversations with Paul this Thursday coming up. Go to biztherapycoaching.com and you can see the link, or click on YouTube this Thursday at 1 p.m. And we'll have a further conversation with our founders hour, which we just had one this Thursday. So it won't be the Thursday coming up, it's the following Thursday. All of this information is listed on the website, Biz Therapy, BIZ therapycoaching.com. So go there, check us out. We're just trying to provide a way, a tunnel, a funnel, and some systems to just, help us grow as people, individuals, and business owners. So on that note, I yield.
All right. Well, once again, thank you everybody for for tuning in, coming, checking us out. This is the first official webinar that we've done online, and we plan on doing one on a monthly basis, tackling different things, digging deeper on topics. They're not salesy, based. We just tell you how we offer a solution to a problem. But there are things, if you have any ideas or anything you want covered, please feel free to email us at hello@haywardcpa.com and go to the website, check this BYOB website out, and we'll follow up. Those of us that have registered, we'll get you a copy of the slides and maybe some other goodies. And once again, thank you. So have a great day, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Enjoy your summer.
Yep. Check up. We out. Peace.